When is it appropriate to intervene on behalf of a parent? Sometimes it's obvious, like when a parent is suddenly taken ill or injured. Other times you have to look for clues, like observing how your parents are handling the activities of daily life, such as driving, shopping, critical thinking, everyday tasks. The activities of daily living, or ADLs, gauge a person's ability to live independently. ADLs is a term that elder care professionals use a lot, so it's good for you to become familiar with it. In this podcast, we'll go into greater detail about ADLs and ways to facilitate, encourage, and maintain independence as long as possible. The main issue to consider here, and sometimes it's a tough call, is this: when is it okay to step in and help your folks? You need to assist your parents when they can no longer live independently, when they require 24-hour care and supervision, when they're chronically ill but don't require hospitalization. If your parent needs help, it's ideal if you've both had a chance to make plans in advance, because you can rely on that information now. But if there has been no advance planning and your parent is in a crisis or requires long-term care, now is the time to start making a plan. Now is the time to talk with your parents about their wishes. And now is the time to start putting together a support network of friends and family who can help. Beatrice learned that, but it took a while.
I didn't reach out for help at the time that this was happening because I really didn't know who to go to or what help was available, really. I really went through a lot of necessary changes had I known that there was as much resources out there, but I didn't know that at the time.
Since you're listening to this podcast, you've probably decided that it's time to step in and help your mom or dad. You're ready to begin taking action, and that's good. But maybe you're not quite sure where to start. No problem, just keep listening and you'll start to see the light of self-confidence. The first step in making a plan is to get and stay organized. That means gathering and organizing all your parents' important papers, including property deeds, wills, insurance policies, stocks, bonds, and bills, bank accounts, medical information, their doctors, the medications they take. Well, you get the idea. You also need to find out exactly where your parent stands physically, emotionally, and financially. If you're dealing with a health issue, you need to learn what their capabilities are. To do that, arrangements need to be made for an assessment of their whole person. To accomplish this, an assessment team needs to be assembled. Dr. Mark Kubik is a geriatrician, a physician who specializes in treating elders. He says,
Geriatric assessment is frequently used to get an overall picture of how your parent or how the elder is functioning at that time. It most frequently involves a multidisciplinary approach to an evaluation which is quite thorough and may take anywhere from 4 hours to several days. It usually involves bringing together a physician, most frequently a nurse, perhaps a neuropsychologist or a psychologist, a social worker, perhaps clergy, and it is usually done within a setting where not only is the assessment done, but the people who are doing the assessment actually talk to each other, compare notes, and this is one case where the sum is larger than the parts. And it can be an excellent evaluation as to where your parent is at that moment, how they are functioning. Are they taking too many medicines? Could they perhaps take more medicines? And most frequently, are they functioning at a level where they can independently care for themselves? Most frequently, there are recommendations that are then made after the evaluation. You're not obliged to follow those recommendations, but they're an important guide so that you may have as much information as is needed to help make decisions and planning decisions regarding placement perhaps, or looking at the most appropriate level of care for your parent.
the multidisciplinary assessment will help in making informed, intelligent, and humane decisions about how to proceed. Typically, you are the assessment team leader. However, If you live far away or are not able to take charge to ensure that action plans are followed, you might want to hire a professional care manager. Care managers are discussed in more detail in the podcast called Distance Caregiving. Remember, your goal is always to maximize your parents' independence so they have as many choices as possible. There are lots of people in your community who can help you put the assessment team together. Your parents' assessment team will put together a report that will provide a clear picture of your parents' current health status, whether their condition is an acute illness or a worsening chronic condition, their medical and daily life needs, and what immediate and mid-range steps need to be taken. Keep in mind this is baseline data. Their situation will change, and you'll be dealing with different concerns. Additional assessments will be needed as time passes. Armed with this solid information, you can begin to develop a care plan with and for your parent. But don't do it yourself. Hold a family meeting to get everyone's input. Experts agree that family meetings are critical to creating an effective caregiving plan. However, family meetings are not always the easiest things to organize or manage, but there is a tremendous value in sharing a family crisis of an ill parent. James Sykes of the University of Wisconsin's Institute on Aging says,
people can do a lot of things together if they're driven by some kind of a crisis. And that's the key. It's get the focus off you and me doing this to this needs to be done and let's do this. And children, siblings, adult children, need to have some conversation, and most, by the way, I think do, in my experience.
Family meetings are about communicating with each other about your parents' specific needs and how to meet them. Ideally, hold your family meetings in your parents' home. If it's not possible to get everyone together at one sitting, don't let that stop you from going forward. At the very least, set up a conference telephone call. Listen to our podcast, Talking with Your Parents, for more information and suggestions to make communications work between family members. It's now time to develop an extended care plan, and that's the subject of the next podcast. This program was produced by agingparents.com, which is solely responsible for its contents.
Thanks for watching How to Help Your Aging Parent Get Organized, including an extended care plan. If you need more help about getting organized, feel free to visit our website at agingparents.com. To watch more helpful videos, click here to subscribe, or watch another video. Also, check us out on Facebook or on Twitter. Thanks again for watching.